Hello, my name is Alex Cambra, and this is my presentation on the three parent participation strategies for Education 301. And before we move forward, it's important to define family funds of knowledge, or FOK, which is a term that describes the cultural practices, knowledge, skills, and experiences that are embedded in families' daily routines and their interactions. And these funds can include assets, abilities, and ways of interacting that have accumulated over time. And these funds of knowledge can also be applied in education to recognize the strengths and resources and of the students' linguistic, cultural, and familial diversity that can be provided in their learning environment. And in the classroom, they could be used in the following ways, specifically around building curriculum around the students' lives. And as a teacher, it's important that we utilize students' experiences and build bridges in the classrooms of the students' many cultural and linguistic backgrounds. And so by centering student experiences and identities, I could foster mutual respect, academic engagement, and a classroom culture rooted in equity and inclusion. And so, an idea that I came up with was I want to create a family roots project where my students would design a family tree that shows where their roots or ancestry comes from. And after presenting in front of the class, I would have a big map for each period where each student could pin where their ancestry comes from, and it would show the rich cultural diversity in our classroom. With each of country of origin, we could list the indigenous languages that comes from all these pinned places on the map. And so this could be like a graphic that could be designed, and then this is what the pins would look like once they're all placed on the map. But moving forward, to better increase parents' participation in their children's learning, I plan to utilize the following three strategies in and out of the classroom. So, for the first one, I would include culturally inclusive classroom events. And so, an example of this would be a diverse potluck we could have in class. So, before and after the potluck, the students engage in the classroom activities that are connected to the event. So that could be researching their heritage or writing reflections on their experience, kind of like what I was saying before. And these gatherings with their family, bringing in all their unique recipes, would be a low pressure, inclusive space for the parents to engage with their students. And by the end of it, it would highlight the classroom as a place where all cultures are welcomed and celebrated, and they could even exchange the recipes that they made with one of um, for their project and exchange them. The second strategy would be family history interviews. And as a classroom learning activity, the students would explore and share their own cultural and familial backgrounds through structured interviews with family members. And this approach not only supports the students' literacy, and research skills, but also honors their diverse identities, languages, and history. And to be as inclusive as possible, Google Translate would be encouraged to help with any translation parents that or translation issues that some parents might experience. And in addition, those low-income families who might not be able to afford to take work off would be encouraged to Zoom in or join through a phone call to ensure their participation. And a third strategy that I would employ would be to establish regular communication with the parents. And as a teacher, it's important to send out potential weekly updates to see to the parents to hear or so they can hear about what the students are learning about that particular week. And as a teacher, we could give them the opportunity to set up any needed parent-teacher conferences if they're interested in seeing how their students' progress is going. And again, to help low-income parents, make sure that we would offer these meetings not only in person, but that they could take place over the phone or Zoom to accommodate these needs. And this would allow the parents to feel valued with their time and um, a work schedule. And that's why it's important to keep it flexible while also showing interest in their child, as it helps with all of this. And thank you for listening.